What's up guys, Senaid here from CodePassiveincome.com. In today's video tutorial we are going to talk about the data types in SQL language. In the first part of this tutorial I will use my whiteboard to show you and talk about the data types. In the second part I'm going to use my PC to show you how to install Workbench and also how to create some table inside some database. So now I'm here at my whiteboard and I'm going to explain the basic data types that you have for the SQL language. Before I even start explaining all of those, I wanted to let you know that in the description of this video you will have the link where you can read about all other types of the SQL language and also the place where you can find more about those that I will explain here, because I'm not going to talk about exact range and stuff like that, because I want to keep things simple and to provide you the knowledge that you will need in order to start with the SQL language. So first is ID, okay, and ID is something that we usually use in our database to represent what is the ID of the user. Okay, so if I register and I'm number 50, the next one will be 51, the another one 52, and so on. So as you can see, the ID, okay, will represent some numeric type, and probably in the most cases you will use integer. Okay, the range of integer is, I guess, from -2 billions to up to the 2 billions, which probably will be always enough for you. But there are other types in case that you need, like SMALLINT, okay, TINYINT, MEDIUM, BIGINT, and so on. But like I said, probably in the most cases you will use this one. Another column in this table is name, and name is some type of the characters in the string, so we need something like that. And for the name, usually you are going to use VARCHAR, okay, and for the VARCHAR we always need to specify the length of this column, so you can use it from 0 to 255. Okay, as you can see, this is variable character, and if you specify, for example, the length of the 50 and the name of some user is not 50, for example it is 40, it will be fine. But if we use another type like CHAR, it is 0 to 100, and for the CHAR it is fixed length, and if we use 50 and the user enter just only 30, the other 20 will be filled with the zeros. So you have to understand that it's important to know the difference, and probably are in the most cases use VARCHAR because it's not fixed on the length. If you need something bigger, then VARCHAR, because it's only 255 characters. And if we use something, for example, we have biography, and for the biography probably the length will be much longer than 255 characters. So we need something that exceeds this, and the next data type is text, okay, and the bigger than text is long text. There are many others, but I'm not going to mention those. I guess for the text it's 60,000 plus characters, so probably it will be more than enough for your users. The next one here is weight. So weight is something that needs to be decimal, for example 80 kilos, 0.17 grams, and so on. So it is decimal, And when we write decimal, we need to specify two numbers. First number represents how many numbers there will be in total, and the next number represents how many decimal places. So for example, if we say 2. And now if we try this, we can understand that we can, for this column here, we can use numbers from minus up to the plus. Because as you can see, there are 5 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there are 2 after. Okay, so this is fine. Another one is married. For this one, it can be yes or no, true or false. And for that data type, we use Boolean. In the database, it will be represented like 1 or 0, which means true or false. And the last one is this one. It is registration date of this user. So registration date. And for this registration date, we have multiple options. It depends. Do you only need date? Do you also need date and time, or you only need time, and so on? So we have date, which will help us to store like year, month, day. Okay, we have date time, which will year, month, date, hour, minute, second. Okay, we have also timestamp, year, and so on. But those two probably will use the most of the time, and the one that I usually use is date time. So as you can see now, those are the basic data types, and in most cases it will be more than enough if you know only those. So once again, we have integer, we have VARCHAR, text and long text, decimal, Boolean, and date time. Those are the ones that you will use the most, like I said. So now I'm going just to clean this whiteboard, and I'm going to show you how to write the SQL command that we will use to using those data types to create this table inside some database. So now, once you know the basic data types, I'm going to write the command that will create the exact same table. So the command is create table, and usually I say if not exists. And now we need to specify the name of our table, and I will say users, and we need to open and close. Okay. And now between those we need to write those columns and their data types. So ID, we said it will be the integer, and also I'm going to say it will be auto increment, which means that for every new user this ID will be bigger for 1. Okay, and I will also say it will be primary key. The next one is name. We said it will be VARCHAR, and we will say 100 characters. The next one is biography. I will say text, it should be more than enough. The next one is weight. and it is decimal 5.2. Merit, it's Boolean, and registration date is date time. So now if we check, I have always used the big letters for something specific to the SQL language, and I have used the lowercase letters for something that we create ourselves. Okay, ID, name, biography, weight, merit, registration date, and other are all those are from the SQL language. So now we have integer, varchar, text, decimal, boolean, data, and probably we'll use those all the time. And now here, as you can see, we have used integer just for ID and for this time, but you have to understand that integer type you can use for anything where you need some number. Okay, so for example, it can be that we need here to have one more column, and we'll say num logins. Probably we'll never need that information, but let's say it is the column that will represent how many times this user has been logged in, and we can say it is num logins integer. Okay, and now this will be increased every time he logins. It doesn't just need to be increased, it can be for any time, for anything that you need to put some number there, but it's not decimal, it's integer. So let me now show you on my PC how we are going to install Workbench, how we are going to connect, and also how we are going to use all those commands. So now I'm here at my PC, and the first thing that we need to do is to download MySQL Workbench. It is the graphical user interface which we will use to execute our commands and also to see the visual representation of our data. So if you don't have it already installed, just go to the Google and type in MySQL Workbench, and here are the first result you can open, and as you can see here you have option download now. So once you download, just install, and that's it. Once you install, you can open it like me, and now I'm going to create new connection to show you how to connect to our database. So first thing is click here on this plus, give it some name to your connection, for example localhost. That's what I usually do. The host name you can leave as is, port same, username is usually root, and that's it. For password it's usually empty, and click here on the test connection. As you can see, it says successfully made the MySQL connection. Okay, and hit OK, and now you have created the connection. Now we need to open that connection, so do right click and go to the open connection, and here we go. Now here from my right side you can see the place where we will type our commands. Down below you can see some table where it will display all our status messages, and here in the left side we have the list of the database that we have already. So first thing that we need to do now, before we even create table, we need to create some database in which we will store our table. So to create database you need to use command create database, and now give it some name, for example test, and I will set column at the end. Hit this here. Okay, and down below now we can see time of this query action, which is our query syntax, and the message. And if we try again, for example, as you can see now we have warning, and here we have error code, and if we read that, it says can't create database test, database exists. Okay, so it's just for you to understand how to read and be sure is it your query run successfully or not. Okay, now if here at the left side we press here refresh, okay, now we can see in this list our database test. Okay, so now what we need to do is connect to our database so that all the queries that we will create after this one will be sent to that database. So the command is use, and after that we need to specify the name of our database. So in this case is test. Okay, so to execute just one line, select and hit this. Okay, as you can see down below it said action use test, and now it's expanded here and you can see everything for this. Okay, so now we need to create some table, and now when we know how to create, let's just type in command. So first is type create table if not exists, because we don't want to overwrite the data if the table already exists. And now give it some name, let's say users, and open. Okay, and now we need to specify the columns of this table. So first one is ID, which is int, and it will have auto increment, primary key. Okay, the next one will be first name, which is VARCHAR, for example 50 characters, not null. Second one is last name, VARCHAR 50, not null. Next one is registration date, which is date time. The next one will be weight, for example, which is decimal. 5 numbers with 2 after the comma. Okay, and pretty much that's it. Now we have integer, we have VARCHAR, we have date time, and we have decimal. So pretty much those are all the basics data types that we need to know. And let's say we will add one more, which is biography, and let's say it is the text type. So those are the most usual that you will use. And now if we select this and try to execute, okay, now as you can see our command runs successfully, which means we have the right syntax. And now let's refresh again, and as you can see here we have our table users, okay, from the left side. So pretty much that's it. Now we know how to create database, we know how to use database, how to create table, and also we know how to and which data type we have in order to create some table. So guys, pretty much that's it for this tutorial. It's pretty much the basic stuff, but it's very important to know those things. So please guys, if you have any question, I'll be more than happy to help you, so comment below. Also please give it some like and share this video. Until the next time, take care.